Hello friends, are you fine okay? Could your pocket change be worth $14,000? These two Civil War legends, the 1860 and 1861 Indian head cents, are hiding a massive secret. Whether it's a pointed bust, error, or a repunched date, even a beat-up coin could be a goldmine. Stop everything, check your jars, and let's hunt some history with Legacy Coins USA. Let's start. The year is 1861, and the United States is fracturing. As the American Civil War erupts with the bombardment of Fort Sumter, the nation's economy is thrown into absolute chaos. This was the year the 1861 Indian head cent was born, a coin struck amidst panic and a desperate need for small change. While the Civil War saw citizens hoarding gold and silver, even these humble copper-nickel cents began to disappear from circulation. Minted at the Philadelphia facility, the 1861 issue became a symbol of a union trying to maintain its sovereignty through its currency, even as industrial resources were being diverted toward the war effort. Technically, this coin belongs to the early fatty era of Indian head cents. It is composed of a hefty 88% copper and 12% nickel alloy, which gives it a distinct pale, almost silvery white appearance compared to the bronze pennies we see today. It tips the scales at 4.67 grams, significantly heavier than later issues, and maintains a diameter of 19 millimeters with a plain, smooth edge. Designed by James B. Longaker, the obverse depicts Liberty in a Native American headdress, while the reverse features an oak wreath and a small Union shield at the top, a design update that had only been finalized the year prior. For the eagle-eyed collector, identifying a true 1861 gem involves looking for a specific variety, the repunched date RPD 001. If you examine the second one in the date under high magnification, you might see a secondary, weaker digit ghosting beneath the primary strike. Additionally, because these were struck in a hard copper-nickel alloy, many 1861 cents suffer from weak strikes, particularly on the feathers of Liberty's headdress and the tips of the oak leaves. Finding a specimen with a sharp, full strike on the word Liberty and the individual diamonds in the ribbon is the hallmark of a high-value piece. The rarity factor of the 1861 cent is often underestimated. While the mintage was roughly 10.1 million, which sounds like a lot, it is actually the lowest mintage of any copper-nickel Indian head cent produced between 1859 and 1864. This makes it a key date for the short-lived copper-nickel series. Furthermore, the survival rate in high grades is surprisingly low due to the intense circulation and subsequent melting for war materials. In MS-65 or higher, researchers estimate that only about 350 specimens have survived, making a gem, quality 1861, cent a true numismatic prize. When we talk market value, the 1861 cent commands a significant premium over its neighbors. In bad condition, graded G4 or good, you can expect to pay between $25 and $40. This is a high entry point for a heavily worn coin, reflecting its Civil War pedigree. However, if you move into mint condition, MS-63 to MS-65, the price explodes. An MS-63 specimen typically auctions for around $500 to $800, while a certified MS-65 gem can easily hammer for $1,500 to $2,000. For the ultra-rare MS-67 specimens, collectors have been known to pay upwards of $14,000 at major auction houses like Heritage. Now for the top 3 secrets of the 1861 Indian head. First, the Indian on the coin isn't Native American at all. It is actually James Longaker's daughter, Sarah, modeled as Lady Liberty wearing a headdress that Longaker claimed was uniquely American. Second, these coins were nicknamed white cents or nickels by the public because their 12% nickel content made them look so much lighter than the old pure copper large cents. Finally, the 1861 cent contains a secret shield. The Union shield at the top of the reverse was added specifically in 1860 to bolster nationalistic sentiment as the threat of secession loomed, making the 1861 one of the first full years of this patriotic design. If you are looking to invest, the 1861 Indian head cent is more than just a piece of copper and nickel. It is a tangible fragment of the American Civil War. When you hold one, you are holding the exact currency that Union soldiers carried in their pockets as they marched south. Whether you're hunting for the repunched date variety or seeking out a white cent with original luster, this coin remains a cornerstone of any serious 19th century collection. Always verify your specimen through PCGS or NGC, as the high value of this key date has unfortunately made it a frequent target for contemporary forgeries. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Civil War history, hit that subscribe button and join the Legacy Coins USA community. Let's preserve American history 1 cent at a time. Next coin. The year 1860 stands as one of the most pivotal moments in American history, and the 1860 Indian head cent served as the literal pocket change of a nation on the brink of collapse. As Abraham Lincoln won the presidency and South Carolina became the first state to secede from the Union, the U.S. Mint was undergoing its own revolution. This was the first full year of the pointed bust design and the introduction of the oak wreath with shield reverse. Amidst the rising tensions of the antebellum South, these coins were being struck in Philadelphia, unaware they would soon become the standard currency for Union soldiers heading into the bloodiest conflict in American history. To understand the feel of this coin, you have to look at its heavy-duty technical specifications. Unlike the thin pennies of today, the 1860 cent is a fatty, thick, chunky coin composed of 88% copper and 12% nickel. This specific alloy gives it a pale, almost golden tan hue rather than the bright reddish-orange of pure copper. It weighs in at a substantial 4.67 grams with a diameter of 19 millimeters. Because of this hardness, the U.S. Mint struggled with the striking process, often resulting in coins that look slightly mushy even when they haven't been spent, making a sharp strike a high priority for collectors. When you're hunting for a high-value 1860 specimen, the key identification marks are all about the pointed bust and the reverse transition. Look closely at the tip of Liberty's bust. In 1860, it was sharpened compared to the rounded version of 1859. For the era hunters, keep your loupe focused on the 1860 date for the repunched date, RPD varieties, where the digits show a distinct doubling or ghosting from a misaligned punch. Furthermore, check the reverse for the narrow shield versus wide shield varieties. While subtle, these structural differences in the Union shield at the top can signify different die pairings used during this chaotic production year. The rarity factor of the 1860 Indian head isn't necessarily found in its total mintage. Over 20 million were produced, but rather in its survival rate in high grades. Because these were the primary workhorse coins during the early years of the Civil War, the vast majority were worn down to smooth discs or lost in the mud of battlefields. Finding an 1860 cent with full diamonds, referring to the sharp details on the ribbon of Liberty's headdress, is exceptionally rare. Most surviving examples are found in fine or very fine condition, making any uncirculated specimen a prized asset that outshines its massive mintage numbers. Market values for the 1860 cent show a dramatic spread that reflects its historical demand. If you find one in bad condition, G4 good, it typically trades for about $10 to $15, making it an affordable piece of Civil War history. However, the price escalates quickly as quality improves. An about uncirculated AU50 piece can fetch $150, while a mint-condition specimen, MS65, frequently hammers at auction for between $1,200 and $2,000. If you are lucky enough to find a proof strike, intended only for collectors of the era, you are looking at a valuation that can exceed $5,000 depending on the depth of the mirror-like finish. The 1860 cent holds 3 secrets that even seasoned collectors sometimes miss. First, the oak wreath on the back wasn't just a stylistic choice, it was a political statement. The mint replaced the 1859 laurel wreath with the oak wreath and shield to project an image of national strength and military readiness as the Civil War loomed. Second, the nickel content was so valuable during the war that people began hoarding these coins, leading to a massive shortage that forced merchants to print their own Civil War tokens. Third, the design is actually a disguise. James Longacre's Liberty is wearing a male chieftain's headdress, which was considered a scandalous cultural blending at the time, though it was marketed as a symbol of American freedom. As you add an 1860 Indian head cent to your collection, remember that you are holding the last cent of the old world before the American Civil War changed everything forever. To ensure you are getting a genuine white cent and not a later bronze version that has been cleaned, always look for that signature 1860 thickness and the pale nickel luster. Would you like me to analyze the specific auction records for the pointed bust variety to see how its value has trended over the last 5 years? Thanks for watching Legacy Coins USA, and get ready for next $1 million video for next day.